Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my couch. Yes, I have a new set of twinkle lights strung up. This and the fact that our diaper changing station is moved makes this whole area in my bedroom much more comfortable. So I'm sitting here filming this video and I'm super excited for today's video because I have been talking about making this for a while. And I always get a little bit like paranoid when I make informational videos because I'm like, is this gonna be informational? But I'm not gonna overthink it. I'm just gonna talk to you about my experience today with the Elvie pump, which is a wireless wearable pump. If you haven't seen me show it or mention it in my other videos, that's what the Elvie is. I think there's like 2 other pumps like it on the market right now. There's the Freemie, there's the Willow, and the Elvie, and I have the Elvie. So I have that, and then I also have the Spectra, I believe it's called the S1. I use both of those pumps. I get a lot of questions, not only about my pumping routine, which is pretty simple, dude. I pump like every 2 hours basically in the day, and I pump once in the middle of the night, which sets me at about 7 pumps a day. I was trying to get down to 5. I'm actually having to change out a couple parts on my Spectra. I need to change out the duckbill because that's kind of a whole other thing. I didn't realize that when you are pumping so much, you have to actually be aware of changing out your parts because it greatly affects your output. So that being said, we're gonna back up here because today's video is kind of about a comparison between the two. And I kind of want to tell you a little bit of my thoughts and journey between like to get to the space that I am now with my pumping. So I am exclusively pumping, as you guys probably know at this point. And I'm not gonna retell the story of like why I'm pumping, but I'm exclusively pumping. And I realized about 3 months ago, maybe 2 months ago, something like that, that I needed to find a way to basically full-time pump with my Elvie because there's a lot of talk around the wireless pumps that you can't use that as your exclusive pump because you will not be getting as much breast milk as you will out of something like the Spectra. Now, I realized that if I didn't learn how to pump with my Elvie exclusively, because I started falling down the internet wormhole. And I realized that that wasn't true on all sides of the internet. So like my sister-in-law, she had been one of the people that had told me that she could not use her Willow, I think she's a Willow, exclusively because she didn't get the same output as she did from the Spectra. Now, first off, things are gonna vary for different people with different pumps and different parts. But that is actually what brings me to my point about the Elvie. What I started finding out when I was digging in was that people who were able to use their wireless pumps full-time as their main pump always had made adjustments to the pump. So none of those people were using the pump just like as it had come from the factory. And they had all basically messed with different breast shield sizes or different inserts. Now, if you don't know what an insert is basically like a jelly pad type situation, and different companies make different kinds. And people who were using it as their full pump always ended up using one of those inserts within their pump, not within their Elvie. Not only because of the comfort, it's more comfortable than the hard plastic, but more specifically because you increase the output of milk if you have a really good fit on your nipple. And so that is, for me, was kind of one of the main reasons I wanted to try the pads. Now, I've tried 2 different pads on my Elvie. One is called like Beaugen. That's a really popular one. I'm kind of whatever about the Beaugens. And then the other one, I don't remember the name, but I'll show you here. That actually, I'm thinking of switching back to them. It's a little tight on my nipples. I'm a little bit like, do I want to do that? Because it kind of makes them like a weird like balloon shape. But I swear my output was the highest it has been on the Elvie when I was using those. Now, that being said, since I made that switch, since I started really paying attention to my the breast shield and the inserts that I was using, I have fully been basically exclusively pumping on my Elvie. Now, I still use my Spectra at night, but I actually just realized I have to switch out both the duckbills and the little, I don't remember what it's called, like the air compressor circle disc thing. By the way, I'm wearing so much pink right now. It's really my color right now. I'm changing those out because I didn't realize that they were like, yeah, if you're pumping like you know, 3 times a week, you're going to want to change it after like a month. I was like, what? I use this every day, all day. So maybe they said 3 times a day. Either way, it was drastically like, oh, I've used this a lot. And it started making sense because like last night when I went to bed, I had pumped, or when I went to bed for my middle of the night pump, I pumped like 20 minutes at 2 a.m. I didn't get that much milk and my boobs still kind of felt full. And the problem with that is not only like, yes, you want to get the milk out of your boobs, but also your milk production will go down, especially at that time when your mammary glands are the most active. If your body is being told, oh, baby doesn't need as much milk because it's not taking as much. So that will affect your supply during the day. So on a side note, if you are using something like the Spectra, you need to be aware that those parts are going to have to be changed because apparently it dramatically affects your output. Like I've noticed a difference and then I read and I'm like, okay, I mean, that's gotta be it. Why did this start happening? And I am gonna make the switch on my Elvie back to those other pads. So really what I wanted to say in here, a lot of people have asked me, which do you recommend? The Elvie or the Spectra? If you have to get, no, honestly, I was gonna say if you have to get one pump, maybe go for the Spectra. I mean, honestly, part of me still does feel that way because I think in some ways, in a lot of ways probably, it's going to be more reliable than than a wireless pump because there's not as many pieces. I think it's just more straightforward, basic technology. Whereas like the Elvie, dude, there is a serious learning curve on these wireless pumps. Learning, not only just seeing all the pieces and you're like, oh my gosh, how do I put all these pieces together? Which it becomes easy, it becomes second nature, you get it. But at first it's overwhelming. On top of that, I've actually never been able to get my Elvie to work properly with the app. So it's never been a problem because, by the way, if you can hear Logan, he's playing downstairs with daddy. It's never been a problem because I don't need to be on the app for it to pump, but I will say I have heard from people, and see, this is the other thing, I need to figure out how to get this hooked up now, that apparently if you don't hook your Elvies up to the app a little bit regularly, you're going to miss out on updates, and apparently then it starts glitching even more. And that is probably the top thing I would say about the Elvies. They're glitchy. I have had a lot of frustrating moments with my Elvie where I'm like, it's not working, but you also start learning a lot of tricks. For example, I figured out after a while that a lot of my problems, now originally I had some problems with my Elvie that this was not related to that. I actually think I got a faulty Elvie and ended up getting another Elvie. But the problems with my new Elvie ended up coming down to the fact that I was not drying every piece enough. So like such a small but apparently significant thing. If every single piece basically is not completely dry, you're not going to get a good pump or possibly even any suction in any pump. So there's all these little hacks that you learn, drying your pieces completely, making sure that the inside little blue duck bill is up over the lip, not tucked down, making sure that the top air compressor or whatever thing is completely smooth and flat against the circle, like the part of the whatever, you get what I'm saying. There's all these little hacks that you learn, but the thing is, to make that your exclusive pump, you kind of have to learn those hacks. You have to kind of be committed to your Elvie, to learning how it works, to learning which breast shield fits your nipples the best, which is a good thing for any pump because you're always going to have better output and a more comfortable pump if the shield actually fits you properly. And that's a whole thing too. Like there's all these measuring things on the internet, like how to measure your nipple for the right shield. I found it all very complicated. It's been a lot of like guessing because your nipples also change size when you start producing milk, and it's hard to tell in the Elvie because you can't really see your nipple with the cover on it. It's a whole thing. So a lot of it comes down to seeing, where do I feel the most comfortable? What am I doing? Like what do I put on where my nipples aren't completely chewed up? What do I put on where the output goes out more? So it comes down to a lot of observation of the Elvie and trying things out and seeing what works. So if I had to recommend one, if you were like, I can't get both, unfortunately, I would say the Spectra. I don't want to say unfortunately because literally thank God for pumps in general, and I love my Spectra and it's great. But also, like in Make Believe La La Land, I would say, no, get the Elvie, because the Elvie is 15 times more convenient. Like, to not have to walk around with a big thing and like you're being milked like a cow just around the house, like, and you literally can't pick up your baby or really hardly do anything else. Even with the Elvies, it is hard sometimes to do other things because you don't want the milk to spill out or for the suction to let go. I can't hug Logan in the same way, obviously, with big pumps. So it's still annoying, right? You're pumping. It just is. But the Elvies are literally amazing. By the way, I have a discount code. I don't think I get a commission, but I wish I did. But I will leave my discount down below. It should be still active. So yeah, so in the real world, I hate saying this, I guess I would say if you have to pick one, I guess go with the Spectra. But if you're willing to gamble a little bit and you have the budget, I would say the Elvie, because you can make it your exclusive pumping situation if you will respond to it. You know, like I said, I don't know, everybody responds differently to different things, but there are tons of people I found on the internet using the Elvie as their exclusive pump. I am now one of those people and it works for me. At least it has so far. So that's kind of, I guess, what I would say. There is a steep learning curve with the Elvie, with understanding the buttons and how to set things up. And like I said, putting together the pieces. The Spectra is pretty much just like, it looked complicated. I remember when I got it, and my sister-in-law was over when I got it. And thank God she was there to help, because pumping in general is a little overwhelming at first. You're like, what's going on? And it's just weird to see the letdown, and like just the whole experience is bizarre. But in general, the Spectra is very basic, very straightforward. You know, you plug it in when it's dying, you unplug it when it's not. I've actually never really messed with the settings too much on my Spectra. That's the thing, I'm not that technologically advanced in general. Like, I don't even know how I'm getting by with these wireless pumps, or how I'm a YouTuber for that matter, because I'm really not that technologically advanced, but it's working and they're amazing. So if you are thinking about the wireless pumps, but you are hearing that rumor that it can't be your exclusive pump, I just wanted to chime in with my story and say that it can be, that I highly recommend it, and that I want to encourage you to dive down the wormhole of how people make it their exclusive pumps. So, for example, on Facebook, there's an Elvie Facebook page, which you guys turned me on to, and that's really where I got a lot of my information on how to make it my exclusive pump. And all over YouTube, if you look up like Elvie inserts, you know, like nipple pads for wireless pumps, you're gonna find all kinds of people's tips and tricks. So allow yourself to dive in, because pumping is an ordeal. And I knew that if I was gonna make it to the long haul, if I was gonna go as long as I wanted, if I had any chance, I had to learn how to use this wireless pump well, because it's the only thing that day after day after day of just like hooking up made sense for me and made me feel like I wasn't going cuckoo, because I could still at least put like a normal top on. I wasn't like walking around the house naked with like my big old pumps hanging off. So yeah, did I mention though? Yes, I did mention that I use the Spectra in the middle of the night, but I'm switching out the duckbills. Anyways, that is it. I feel like this video is like a record speed for me to get to the point and give you information. But yeah, I hope that this was helpful for you guys. Let me know anything I missed or any questions that you have down below, and I will try to answer them in the comments. If there's like a ton of things I didn't address, maybe I'll make a part 2, but I don't know. I can't imagine what I missed, but then again, I probably did. So I will be reading the comments and replying. Also, if you're watching this still right now, check the info box, because I do semi-secret giveaways as a way to say thank you guys for all of your support. I just appreciate you so much. And with that being said, I will see you all over the rest of the internet and hopefully back here very soon. All right, bye guys.